Well, I want to cover these foods very quickly. I'm Das, I'm a registered dietitian, and I focus on specializing on weight loss for you. But I just want to make sure that you have variety, because if you don't have enough variety and if you're eating a number of foods that you just don't like, they're bland, you're just eating celery sticks and that's it, you're not going to stick with the plan. I definitely want you to have a life plan, not a drive-through. So let's go over some of these foods. Now, a delicious apple. Well, what I can say about an apple very quickly is it's a very good source of fiber. And I recommend eating the skin because right up under the skin of the apple, you have pectin and you have substances in there that can help you with digesting your food. The last thing we want is to eat food, eat several meals a day, and for several days we don't eliminate. That's not good. We don't need any excess baggage. We want to eliminate and eliminate thoroughly. And so when you increase your fiber like a food like apple with the skin, you will also need to increase the amount of water that you drink. The two go together. Now, a medium-sized apple would be about 90 calories. And, so I like it because it's versatile. I can do a baked apple, and then I can put some monk fruit or something like that on it, which is a non-nutritive sweetener. Put maybe a little drizzle, a little honey on it or something like that, whatever seasonings that you want to use. And you can do it in a salad. You can put it in a vegetable salad. You can eat it just plain, or I like to serve it to my mom, but I cut it up. Sweet potatoes. They are not the lowest in calorie, but what I've done is a combination of foods because I want you to have variety. And it would be difficult for a lot of people if all they had was alfalfa sprouts and celery. Alfalfa sprouts and celery. We like those foods when they're added to other foods. So I wanted to make sure that you have some foods that kind of stick to your rib and they stay with you a little longer so you won't get hungry as quickly if indeed you did not eat those. So I'm putting in that sweet potato. It's a powerful antioxidant, which means it helps to protect your cell. It can help you with digestion. It is a good source of fiber. It's colorful. It tastes good. Now, that's a baked potato. Or if you wanted to use it as a baked potato, if you want to drizzle a little honey on it or just a little bit of margarine. But when sweet potatoes taste good, you don't have to do anything to them. Now, a sweet potato would be more like 162 calories. So in addition, in comparison to your apple, yes, you're going to get more calories. But my mindset is that's okay because this is still half the calories of some common foods that a lot of people eat that really would be difficult for you to be losing weight eating a lot of those foods. So I'm okay with the sweet potato. Food is collard greens. Now, you see collards there, but they are all your dark green leafy vegetables. So that's your collard greens, that's your kale, that is your mustard greens, your turnip greens. I really like bitter greens, and your spinach. All dark green leafy vegetables are extremely low in calories, somewhere about 40 calories per serving. Now, excellent source of fiber. And they have powerful antioxidants in it, and an antioxidant is something that protects our cells. So if our cells are protected, that's going to keep us nice and strong, and we want that. So when it comes to weight loss, they taste good. You can enjoy them. Sometimes people make them in a smoothie. Sometimes they use them in a salad, or you can just cook them like grandma's homemade, down-to-earth collard greens, or my aunt. She used to always make turnips, and she would cut turnips up in those turnip greens. Please, they were all that. They were all that. But they're good. They're good, and a very good source of fiber. You know, and you do have a little bit of calcium in them. So what I am presenting to you is we're not just focusing just on the calories, although most of these foods pretty much meet that standard, but the good things that they do in helping you to eliminate. Now, more fiber, more water. Fiber and water goes together like peanut butter and jelly. You don't want one without the other. So, okay, so that's that one food. But the next food is the cabbage. And I don't want to forget that. Cabbage is wonderful. It's cheap. And if you get these foods from the market, you're going to really, in comparison to other things that you can eat, you're going to save a lot of money. And they're going to taste really, really, really good. So, but the cabbage is cheap. And per serving, you're talking about 35 calories. Now, that's if you don't add any margarine or anything like that to it. That's just the cabbage. But when we cook cabbage, like if you go to my YouTube channel, Das Cafe, Good Living, and I fix that Cajun cabbage. So I really spice it up almost Louisiana style. I do add fat to that. But even so, you're starting with such a low calorie food from the beginning that even if you add some fat to it, if you add a few this, a few that to it, you're still not racking up a whole lot of calories. So remember that cabbage. And then it's versatile. And then we have our citrus fruits. Beautiful. Do you like that? I like that picture of the citrus fruits. I like citrus fruits pretty anyway. But the citrus fruits are a very good source of fiber, a very good source of vitamin C, potassium, and they help to protect us. And going into the cold season, we want that. You know, there's something about the citrus fruits, they just stand out to me. Not only are they colorful and they taste good and they have natural sweetness in them, they are good with, once again, helping us to digest our food, and they are powerful antioxidants. Also with the citrus fruits, now they'll range somewhere between 60 to 80 calories, which still isn't a lot of calories. And what I've done, and I've started stirring this to my mother, I have made a compote. And for the younger crew, a compote is when you take certain fruits and you heat them up and simmer them until the fruit creates its own syrup. And it's sweet, it's thick like a syrup, like honey kind of consistency. So I would fix to her some prunes, and I add them up with peaches and citrus fruit, and it's really good. It's really good, and does definitely helps you with elimination, but it tastes good because some people don't want to eat just the prunes. But the way I fix it, you really don't know you're eating prunes. You do, they're in there, but it's blended with so many other things. You know, check out my YouTube channel, and I'll show you how to make that. And then we have our berries. Blackberries, blueberries, strawberries, and blackberries. I remember when I was a child, I would pick blackberries off the tree, off the bush, and they were so sweet. I mean, really, we had a couple of blackberry bushes in our neighborhood. Where did they come from? Who knows? But we definitely took advantage of it. And I just bought some the other day. I can't get enough of it. It really helps me with digestion. And they're also powerful antioxidants, as I mentioned with some of the other foods that I have chosen for this list. They're a good source of potassium. They aid in digestion and a pretty good source of fiber. So that's another food we're talking about for weight loss. You're looking at about 90 calories. And then we have that avocado. That's wonderful. Now, avocado is the most calories on the list that I'm sharing with you. Avocados are the most. But I like them because they're versatile. I like them because they're so good for you. And You can put them in a smoothie. I have a cousin who made ice cream with it. And you would not know that avocados was in that ice cream. And she blended it with some fruits and a few other things that she added. I think she may have added some type of a honey to it. It was delicious. And so it's so versatile because you want variety. You want to look forward to your meals. And you may have to go through a period where you're going through a transition and you still want to, reach back, for some of the oldies but goodies. But you got to step by step, you got to keep moving forward. You can't allow yourself. You're on a new plan. You're on a new journey. You need to stay on that journey and be faithful. You may have some days here and there, but don't let those days take over. Go with that mindset. And that's why in Boss Battle Academy, and I'll have a link for that, I talk about making that transition, strengthening up your mindset, activating your mindset, and a couple of approaches that are necessary to keep you on track because you need several approaches to help you with that. But we've got that avocado, good source of magnesium, a good source of calcium, and you have a little bit of fiber, but the calories are high, 312 calories for an avocado. So no, you don't want to have 10 avocados a day. Don't think so. But blend them in with some of those other wonderful foods that I'm talking about. Avocados are very, very good for you. Okay, and here's my other food. I like oatmeal. I can eat it raw. I can eat it cooked. I can eat it in a cookie. I can eat it in another dessert that I make. I can put it in a casserole. It is so very versatile and it's not expensive. Food costs have gone off the chain. And so a lot of these foods, you can get them at your local market for dimes in comparison to some of the other boxed foods that we get. You can't get a boxed food. You can't get a ready-to-eat food for nickels. You can't do that. You can cut your costs significantly by choosing some of these foods and getting them either at the local market, or you can go to the supermarket and you can see them when they're marked down, that you hurry up and trying to get rid of a lot of them before they go bad. You can get them much, much cheaper, and they taste better. Yes, they taste better. So oatmeal. Oatmeal's good. Good source of fiber. Oatmeal sticks with you. Once again, I'm blending some foods that are a little higher in calories, but they stick with you, but they're still much lower in calories than some of the things that you would eat otherwise. And you've got protein, you've got fiber with the oatmeal, and some magnesium. There are other nutrients, but those are just some that I picked out. Definitely, those are the 10. I think I've covered them all. I think I did. But if not, there's one I did miss. Is squash. You can do zucchini, you can do butternut, you can do spaghetti squash. It doesn't matter. They're not very high in calories. And I use butternut squash. I've done a number of them, but I lean more toward summer squash. It's easy to cut up, easy to make, easier to make than some of the others. But low in calorie, like your summer squash, like 19 calories. And still, all your plant foods are a source of fiber. It's a good source of fiber, and you get a little calcium, you get a little potassium, vitamin C, and folate. Folate is one of the B vitamins that are necessary, so much so that any grain that you buy in the U.S., it is mandated that they have folate put in it. Because when you process a lot of the grains and cereals and the breads that we eat, a lot of times nutrients kind of wash out, and they're not in that product like they were before all of the milling process. So it is mandated that they put some nutrients back in, and folate is one of those. And it's very important if you are pregnant, or if you're thinking that you want to get pregnant, make sure you're getting enough of that folate. I wanted to get that to you. I'm Daz, and please comment below if some of these foods are foods that you would choose to include in your plan. Again, I'm Daz, I'm out, but I look forward to seeing you next show.